go to,
Just about a question. Yeah, anything like a hyperthyroid, anything natural, I mean, you have a hypo.
yeah. You know, in Russia, we have lots of this condition because they eat cabbage family, the cruciferous family. And that produces goiters. And, oh, wait a minute, that's for hypo, isn't it? Hyper, I get mixed up with them. Pardon me?
You can get goiters from hyper and hypo.
Yeah, for both. Yeah, for both, right?
Yes.
Well, you have to stop the cruciferous family. You cannot eat cabbage and broccoli and things like that. Worked with a lot of that in Russia and the Ukraine. And the only way that we could ever get that goiter down is fast them and take them all off of the cruciferous family. But what I've learned since then is a lack of iodine in the thyroid gland. And I hope I can hit on a little bit of the iodine thing because I'm really getting passionate about it, because I'm very frightened for women, because there's a big link between lack of iodine in your body and breast cancer in men with prostate. I went to a doctor's lecture just about a month ago, and he works with the epidemiologists that are doing the world studies on this. When we were finished with the 2-hour lecture, he looked out at us, he said, if you all in here are vegan vegetarians, by the time you hit your later years, 80% of you will have cancer. I mean, we were like stuck in our chair. Now, I had already read about the link between it and cancer, but I didn't think about the fact of being a vegetarian in this country. And so we were just startled by that. But it answered a lot of questions for me, because I have so many people on a regular basis coming to me. My grandmother been eating a pure diet for 40, 50 years, and she's got cancer. My mother, and I'm standing there like, God help me, I don't know what this is. Why? Because we're thinking we're eating this pure diet and nothing can happen to us? Well, it's because we are very deficient or non-existent of iodine in our body. There's a big link there. ADD, mothers that are have good sufficient amount of iodine, they don't have that in their children. I have a whole slew of stuff. I mean, I'm getting sidetracked a little bit here, but it's so important. Also, mothers that have lots of mercury fillings in their mouth, that the more mercury fillings they have, the more they have autism in their children when they're born. So let me see, where do I have that iodine thing? You know what? Go ahead.
Oh, do you think the lack of iodine is a lot of vegetarians use sea salt and they're not getting the iodine?
That's right. In fact, he said, go out here and get the old Morton salt. You can use sea salt if you want, because and I forget what salt did he tell us. I might have it here in my notes somewhere. Sea salt does not raise high blood pressure. He said, and so use it, but you need to use some salt with iodine in it. Because a few years back, I can't remember when, it seemed to me they took iodine out of all of it, but then it came back in one of the Morton salts. But it's still not sufficient unless you're using it every day. And when you get real low, you have to do a bumper dose for almost a year to get you up to the right levels that you need in your body to be protective against so many illnesses. Most people, they say, that have a lot of allergies, it's linked to iodine deficiency.
Can you test for that?
Pardon me?
Can you test for the iodine deficiency?
Not really. Now, I will give you the lab that you can contact that's doing some of the studies, that you can buy the right kind of iodine. See, there's another thing, and just to show you this, you know, when I give some seminars in churches, everybody's checking me out when I'm doing it. They've got that cell phone up, and man, they're looking up on the internet, see if I'm saying the right thing. Sometimes I like to hit them in the head. But aside from that, I see them out there checking me out all the time. And so when I was talking about the iodine thing, I found out in this country, see, if there's a nuclear meltdown, and you don't have sufficient iodine in your thyroid, which most of us don't, there's isotopes that are released, the chemical isotopes that are released, and your thyroid's receptor sites are not loaded up. Guess what? you're going to get that, and guess what? There is not if, and, or but, you're going to get thyroid cancer. That's a fact. And so when Fukushima melted down, even though Japan, you know, they don't have they have low breast cancer. And that's because they eat lots of seaweed, fish, that kind of thing. I'm not saying go out here and eat fish, but when that melted down, the closer you are to this reactor, the worse you're hit. So even though you've got some good iodine, you obviously many times don't have enough. You could not in this country, because I tried. I wanted to get a load so I'd have a good load in my house in case something else happened or the clouds came over here. You could not buy iodine anywhere in this country. They emptied the warehouses out so that they could get to their people. Well, then just recently, and you can look this up on the internet if you want, just recently somebody came to me, and then I looked it up, is that in our country, if you live near a reactor that they're concerned about, our government, which I'm surprised they want to keep us alive, they give free iodine within it's either a 10 or a 20 mile radius, and whoever was looking it up for me said, no, you had it wrong, it was whatever, it was the opposite of what I said. They give it free, so that if it melts down, boy, you better load up fast, so that your thyroid will not grab on to those isotopes that are in the nuclear, you know, and I keep thinking it's just a matter of time that's going to happen here. You know, I mean, maybe not, I hope not, but I don't know, according to where we are in the end of time. Hyperplasia, do you know what that is? That is, what way we call it medically, it's the step before breast cancer. And we've always believed, you know, hyperplasia, you can have that for a long, long period of time. And actually, my daughter-in-law had it for long, probably 20 years, the doctor said. But it will eventually turn into it, but it is representative of an iodine deficiency, hyperplasia is. And so I will tell you, and then anybody concerned about osteoporosis, hopefully we can hit that. ADD that happens in children is a deficiency when the fetus is growing, beginning to grow. If you don't have enough, it can happen. Now, you know, I could tell you so many things, but I have to hit some of this other. And then afterwards, you know, I can give you the websites that you need to go to, that you can read up on it. You can go to one, and that's Dr. Fletch's website, helpmythyroid.com. That's the one, and then I'll give you the name of the company that you'll want to go to. Let's see here.
What do you know about pomegranate?
Know about what?
Pomegranate.
Oh, pomegranate. Fabulous antioxidant. You know, I mean, it's right up there with everything else. It also plays a major role in angiogenesis. It has all those antioxidants in it that stop the blood supply to cancer tumors. And it's one of the, raspberries are your top, but pomegranates are running neck and neck almost with raspberries. In fact, all your berry family has that ability in it. And the leaves, the raspberry leaves, they all have the same I'm lost my head. I'm trying to go too fast now. Valerie, slow up. I'm so glad you can edit this. So I can tell you it's wonderful. You know, it's a wonderful, wonderful juice for those reasons. And like I said, it has lots of antioxidants in it. I mean, it's considered way up there, you know, and it's in the Bible too, remember? Beet juice is excellent. It's excellent for the liver. You know, you want to be careful if you have high blood sugar. You don't want to overdrink because it is a sugar. You know, they make sugar from beets. When I was in Romania, I used to just about flip out. They have all kinds of beets, huge beets, all kinds of beets, but they feed the pigs the greens. And I'm like, oh my dear, you feed the pigs the greens. They didn't know what greens were when I was over there. Cabbage was it. They never grew kale and broccoli and cauliflower. They didn't have those when I was over there working. But they fed the one great green they could have been eaten to the pigs. But anyway, I was just going to go through some of these things here, and then we'll hit on the kitchen remedies. I think I have some of this in here. Anybody know about comfrey? I know that Lydia talked about it. Comfrey's just wonderful. It's my favorite of favorite. You know, it's charcoal, and it's clay, and it's zeolite, and then it comes to comfrey. Comfrey is a cell proliferator. Comfrey is a healer. So if you, let's say you had a bad infection, so you're going to use charcoal first, or clay, to pull out that infection and clear the infection up. Then you would go to comfrey to heal it. But sometimes I've switched around and did back and forth. It's a wonderful healer. One birth that we did here, it was a pretty bad, we didn't do an episiotomy, but she did almost a natural episiotomy. And I was aghast. I said, Dr. Aguilar, should I go get the stitching kit? She says, no. She said, she'll heal. We're going to do comfrey pores. And that's when I learned more about comfrey. All we did was comfrey pores. And that thing, in 3 days, it was amazing how it healed together again. So it's a wonderful plant that is good for just about everything, and it is a bone knitter. I have somebody now that just broke their fibula in their leg. That's a skinnier bone that's in your leg, broke it right smack in two. And so she has a portable cast on so she can take it off and wash her leg, but she broke it such that the doctor even still gave her crutches, doesn't want her to walk on it with a walking cast. It's so serious. So right now she's making comfrey poultices to put on it and drinking it. I drink it. I'm not afraid of it. But yeah, I have to tell you, you have to make that decision for yourself, whether you think it's poison or not.
The old name for it is bone knitter.
Bone knitter, yeah, that is the old name.
The comfrey powder, does it have the same effect?
Comfrey powder, does it have the same?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, you can dehydrate this and break it all up in pieces. You can make powder out of it. You can, I just made some salves where I have comfrey and, you know, just by itself. I have somebody using it to heal a breast situation. And so it's just a wonderful healer. If you didn't have anything else in your kit but charcoal and comfrey, you're good to go. You know, and carry a potato and cabbage along with you while you're at it. Let me see. Let's see what we need to skip over here.
You're supposed to give us the address for the iodine company?
Yeah, where did I lay the paper? Okay, it's the Hakala Research Lab, and so the website is, and I'll just, it's the www thing, but you don't have to do that anymore. It's HAKALAL labs.com. A lot of information on there about iodine and boron, because boron stimulates osteoblast for people that are suffering from osteoporosis. There's only 2 products I know that work, and one is I might have brought some of that. I don't know if I.
HAKALAL.com or labs.com.
You need to write that down.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, and they can tell you about the boron, because boron stimulates osteoblasts, and it works great for, you have to take it in large, 75 milligrams. You can't go anywhere and buy it over 3 milligrams in any store. But this lab makes it in 75 milligrams, and it will build backbone like a young person. And I know of 2 people that it's done it with. But now, you may have to take it for 2 years. But I want you to know, and so don't panic, saying, well, why aren't my bones strong in 6 months? Don't panic, because from the time you start taking it, if you take it right, you're building bone, you're making new bone all along, depending how bad your osteoporosis is. But in fact, Dr. Fletch's wife, without realizing it, got in to be an osteoporosis, so she's a pretty aggressive woman. And so she said, well, look, if 75 milligrams is okay, can I take 150? And so he said, well, you're not at the lethal dose yet, so I guess you can go ahead and take the 150. When she got x-rayed, or had her bone density done 2 years later, I think it was, she had the bones of like a 25-year-old. They had built back so beautifully. So it works great, and the only other product is this. Ezorb I used for years, and we sell it at Country Life as well. And this is really good for, it helps to build back cartilage, it dissolves bone spurs. I mean, it's fabulous for fibromyalgia. It's another wonderful product. And I have a hard time, so I do both, because I don't know which one is the best. Ezorb, you can go on EZORB. EZ. Z is in zebra. ORB. That's another product that you could, yes. But boron, I can't really say that, because I like this product. It does a few more things, although boron, the more I'm reading and I'm discovering it does wonders for inflammation of tendons, you know, helping to build back cartilage. And I've used this with lots of people, and they have had good results. And I'm just now using boron and suggesting boron to others, and there are results. I know someone that had some tendonitis, and just as soon as starting that boron and nothing flat, that tendonitis just went, you know. But B-O-R-U-N? Yeah. B-O-R-O-N. Yeah. But you have to get it from this company. There are some stores handling it, or there's private. Ezorb is the other, EZORB. For the boron and even the Ezorb. Now, Country Life has it because I got them to get it. And most of these products, it's either people giving seminars like me or practitioners that are handling it. It's not in your average store. And for certain, boron isn't, because that is a higher dose. And so you can get it from the lab.
What do you know about chelation?
Well, I haven't used it myself, but I certainly have enough people tell me about it. And I've had surprisingly people telling me that it worked well. I've had other people tell me that it didn't work, you know. Anybody want to know about flu vaccines? Yeah. You know, I can, okay. You know, I have several protocols. I don't know which one is better, but the bottom line is this, and this is what you need to do. I told you this yesterday. If you're going to get an x-ray, an MRI, or anything, even to the dentist, they're some of the strongest. You just make sure you take your little jar of charcoal. You know, it's going to settle by the time you get there. Just shake it. Whoops. I opened that one up, I guess. You just shake it up and drink it down as soon as you get out of the dentist office. Or, you know, you can do it while you're in there. My dentist thinks I'm a little off anyway, so nothing would surprise him that I would do, so I could get away with it.
Do you get a flu shot?
No.
Have you ever had one?
No.
Me neither.
I don't plan on getting it. If you read up on flu shots, I'm here to tell you, family, it would scare you but good. I'll give you a little, I think I might have something here. Let's see.
On that just in the last couple of days, it said that 67% more people with flu shots get the flu than those that don't.
Yeah.
How you gonna inject me with the flu?
Okay. If you take the vaccine in 5 years, there's 1,000% increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease.
What was that?
If you take the flu vaccine.
What's the percentage?
1,000%. So we wonder why we have such an escalating of Alzheimer's. That could very well be some of it, besides the EMFs coming off your cell phones. And if I get a chance, I'm going to talk just a little bit about it, because that's my next big passion. The hepatitis B vaccine, you will have a, let me see, you'll have a 300% increased risk of developing MS within 3 years. And I know that to be a fact. I have a physician friend who had the flu shot, and Guillain-Barré syndrome, you know, you eventually start losing all your muscles in your body and you can't function right. She told me herself, I got the flu shot, and within a very short time I started coming down with it. And she said, I know it came directly from the flu shot. Now, you know, they're making this big hype on the news, you know, and I mean, they're purporting, you know, oh boy, this is going on. Well, anyway, you know, with this measles vaccines and I mean, it's crazy. When my kids were little, every kid got it. In fact, if the lady up the street, her kids got it, everybody in the neighborhood took their kids up there so they could get it. Because we all want our children to have those diseases over by the time they went to school. And now they're making such a big issue over it, you know, but I believe that they're more severe now because the way kids eat, the environment they live in, all that they're exposed to, they may be more affected than my kids were. I don't know, but it's very serious. Flu shots play a big role in all types of neurological disorders. Alzheimer's, fibromyalgia. You know, we have fibromyalgia everywhere. Ask the person, the next one that has fibromyalgia, have you been taking flu shots? That may give you severe allergies will start cropping up in people with taking flu shots.
And I'm paraphrasing, but like you can look it up on the internet. It was Bill Gates who said that we want to do mass genocide so we can get people flu vaccinations.
Oh, I believe that. You know what they're doing in vaccinations now that is just, oh boy, that's being filmed, but I don't care at this point. Is they're putting live cancer cells. Look it up on the internet in vaccines. And I don't know what all. There's a big increase in Bell's palsy for people taking flu shots. Affects the organs, particularly the pancreas. I wrote at the bottom here, I don't know where I got this, the world was quickly being led to the slaughterhouse. That's good for the cameras. Oh, go ahead. What were you going to say? Well, I wonder why I did that. Well, anyway, okay. If you know, now I have nurses. You know, the physicians aren't demanded to take a flu shot. Did you know that? But the nurses have to, and anybody working in the hospital has to. But the physicians don't have to. You know why? Because they stood up and fought against it. They know better than to take it in most cases. But they make you take it, you know? So, so what you need is you need to have your charcoal available. You need to build your immune system up when you know that you got to go, oh, I could go to jail for this when I start telling you what to do. But anyway, I have a number of protocols, but the best that if you can just remember to do this is that you have charcoal compresses, and you make sure you have a nice thick one when you go to get your flu shot. And then you make sure, you put it on immediately, and you drink down a big glass of charcoal. You change that compress at least every 3 hours, and you need to do that for 5 days. Keeping that compress on there, drinking the charcoal, drink lots of vitamin C. If you get your hands on anything like the zeolite, that also has a cage-like structure, and or clay, take clay into your body, and what it's going to do, it's going to latch onto that vaccine going through your bloodstream and into your liver. And you can, yeah, it would be good to do it. It used to be we said 24 hours, but now we're saying you need to build your immunity, and take a lot of vitamin C and a lot of vitamin A 5 days before you take the shot. And then for 5 days after, as soon as you get the shot, you can wipe it off with some alcohol if you want, but then you put the charcoal. I mean, I would have that charcoal compress in my pocket. As soon as they gave me the shot, I'd get out of that room as fast as I could, and on the way walking out of the hospital, I'd have it on me like this. I mean, I wouldn't waste any time. And then you just change it every 3 hours. And more than likely, Dr. Bailey, who's another physician up where I'm at, and we kind of we've been in seminars, I know his family, and he's kind of wrote up his own protocol. So you do things to stimulate your immune system, and then you just use that. You can, to try to block it right away, put ice pack on it, and then put the charcoal, put the ice. Those are some of the things that you can do to pull that right out of your body as soon as you get it, you know. So now, I guess
Somebody do that if they're going to take the flu.
they're being made to take it. In order to keep their job, they're being made to take it.
A mask the whole time you're at work, if you work in the hospital.
For now you have to. But after this year, you know, mask or no mask, you have to take the flu shot. Right now they make you wear a mask, the doctors don't have to wear one. I know.
Or you have to be really clever.
Yeah,
You have to take it.
yeah, well maybe you know the other trick.
Volunteer, I don't know what to say.
Well, maybe anybody in the medical that needs to know how to cleverly hide some of this, go over here and she'll tell you what to do.
No, you can't do what I did.
Oh, you can't? Okay, okay.
We might all be.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe you do. I don't really know. Does anybody know you can get a letter from your pastor and you don't have to take it? I haven't heard that.
Yes, I've done it once.
Oh, for
That
you.
doesn't mean it's gonna always work.
It does not.
Because the nurses that work in the Adventist hospital up there, they haven't told me that.
Yeah, but you still have to wear a mask. If
You still-
don't take it, and it's a hard thing to get through a day of work wearing a mask.
Oh, my dear. Have you ever had one on for any length of time?
I've seen
Ah.
people at the hospital where I live doing it, some nurses that don't want to take it. They work with a mask on.
But it's miserable.
I know, I couldn't do it.
Oh, it's miserable. I can't hardly do it for a short time. Where is my, oh, here's my kit. Okay, do you want to just see, do you want to see how you do a potato poultice or suppository? You want me to kick on to pine pollen, some of these things here?
Yeah, move on, 'cause
Okay, and then if I have time, I'll get back to this because you already know what this will do, okay? Oh, one more thing with aloe. If you're going to take it internally and you want to really clean yourself out good, get yourself a big leaf, cut the thorns off the side of it, and then use the whole leaf. And then you put that in a blender, and you can either use banana and orange, and that will neutralize it, and it'll taste really good. I've done it with mangoes and berries and you name it, and it's so bitter I can't stand it. When you have an aloe that the leaves are separated and they're not touching each other, they're not as bitter. But when the aloe's leaves are all touching each other close, then they're much more bitter. So banana, that's all I ever used, and I used to sometimes give it in some of the classes to let everybody taste a little bit when we had it before lunch. And it looks like a beautiful green souffle, sort of like. So I've made it and stuck a big red strawberry on the top and put some kiwi around it. And it looks so pretty. You know, when I looked at it, I thought, boy, I got to decorate this up. It's so pretty. And then you could just eat it like it's like a little soup, whatever you want to call it.
Can you cook liquid?
Pardon me?
Can you cook aloe?
Well, you know, that's a good question. I've never cooked aloe. I don't know why I would cook it. You mean just to eat? Oh, my.
No, somebody asked me actually. She asked me.
Does anybody know, can you cook aloe? And what would you cook it for?
I don't know. I know they cook cactus in Mexico, but I've never.
Yeah.
When you blend with the banana and the aloe vera, do you use any liquid water or anything like that?
Sometimes I have to put a little bit of water at the very bottom and then and I take the aloe and I chop it all up. You know, and then I put the banana on top of it because the banana doesn't have any juice in it, but the aloe does, and then just a little bit of water at the bottom of the blender. And then, you know, once you get it going, there's enough juice coming out of the aloe, and I'm telling you what, you drink that with the whole leaf, it's going to clean you out from your mouth to your anus. I mean, it's just going to go all the way through, and you're going to be cleaned out good. It's probably one of the best laxatives I've ever used on people. I mean, it works fantastic, you know.
So before you let the skin on, right?
Oh yeah, if you want to clean out, you got to leave the skin on. Yep. If you're going to take it more nutritionally, then go ahead and fillet both sides, take the skin off, take the real reddish, forget what that's called, take that off of it, and then you can go ahead and take that medicinally. As I said, it's very good for GERD, or you can go ahead and you can get the aloe vera gel caps to take for GERD. It's very, very good. It will help to soothe. Then there's a few other things off camera I'll tell you. Yeah, I have to. You should have the kitchen remedies in there. I'm just running through this real quick just to see. Bladder infections, you know, you have a number, we have this kind of thing all the time. And one thing that really flushes out the, as we call it, the old pesky organisms from the UTIs, you know, they can be so miserable. And the biggest thing with UTIs, and you can do this also if you think you're getting sick with the flu, you think you're getting sick with anything. If you would drink a glass of water every 10 minutes for an hour, more times than not, you'll flush out whatever's getting ready to get started. The only thing you do with flu and colds and bronchitis and stuff like that, if you think you're getting sick, every 10 minutes you drink a glass of water for 1 hour, and then you go outside and you walk till you know it's gone. And I've done it, and it was gone, and I knew it was gone, and I was fine. And so, but you know, to get anybody to do that is another story. You know, they might drink the first 10 minutes, and then after that they won't do it. But if you do that with almost anything, and especially when you're getting a UTI, which is a bladder infection, I'm working with somebody right now off campus, and we just had a time. I sat there and finally got 2 glasses in her a few days back. If you don't, you're not going to get really well from it. One of the other things is when everything else fails, cream of tartar will work. It's in your kitchen remedies. Yeah, you just mix it in water. You only take like it's either half a teaspoon or a teaspoon. I think it's a half a teaspoon or a fourth a teaspoon in a glass of water every 8 hours for a 24-hour period, and usually that will clear it up. But another thing that clears it up, you know, here's some dried parsley. You can make a tea out of dried parsley, and it really flushes all those organisms, you know, that cause infections in the bladder out. Parsley is just wonderful. Parsley, you know, here it is. Here's the fresh parsley. A lot of you might not know this, but if you have a bad bruise that you just bruised yourself, you just take a bunch of parsley leaves and mash them up really good as best you can, and then go ahead and bandage it on wherever that bruise that you just have, and it'll clear it up. But you got to break up, you know, stick it in the blender if you can. Anything that will break up the cellulose in the herb itself, and then it'll just get rid of a bruise. Let me tell you, if you don't have anything else, parsley's going to help with whatever. I'm trying to think of the major things that you might be interested to know.
Did you cover arthritis? Anything for arthritis or bursitis?
Well, I tell you, boron is one of the biggest ones. For instance, in Jamaica, like I said, they're doing the world studies on this. Jamaica and those islands, 70% of the people suffer from some type of arthritic disease, because there's more than, you know, lupus is in that family. And it's true, we see it. And so boron, they have no boron, none in their soils, none. And so that's why it's more there, and then I could tell you some stories in Ecuador and stuff like that. But anyway, boron is just very good for clearing that up. And then, of course, use your cabbage leaf in the meantime, you know, to see if it's, you know, to help with the inflammation and the pain. And providing you're not in the knee area, particularly bone on bone, because, you know, that I'm not sure how to clear that up, but I will tell you this. I had a friend with a hip problem, and she was bone on bone, and they, you know, for all various reasons, they didn't want to do surgery because she was Medicaid, I guess, and they really can hold you off for, and she was in agony, and nothing was working. She didn't want to keep taking drugs. I got her on this Ezorb, and believe it or not, it calmed the inflammation down that she could walk around some until when they did the surgery. So that helps for that, but boron, I'm just getting into the boron thing, but I'm thoroughly convinced on it. You know, after the lecture I went to, I'm more than convinced on it. Let me see. Pardon me? Oh, you want to know about migraines? Oh, let me tell you about how to get rid of a migraine, and most of the time it does it like 1, 2, 3. Now, you know, again, just always remember what works for one doesn't work for another, but most of the time this one does work. But again, there could always be the exception to the rule, and don't panic when you see what I'm getting ready to show you. Is I'm going to show you that in this little jar, where's my water? Oh, here. I'm going to put some water in this little jar, if you can see what I've got here. Yeah, I think I'm okay. I'm going to put a teaspoon of this red pepper. Now, I do have this available because you can't buy it just anywhere. This is 180,000 heat units. It'll raise you to the ceiling. But if you're going to do anything medicinally, you got to have this kind of heat unit.
This is for migraine headache.
What I'm showing you now, but I'm going to show you a whole bunch of other things with red pepper. It's the most amazing stuff in the world. You know, even though it scares you to say the word. I put a teaspoon in here. Sometimes I make it stronger, but a teaspoon's good enough.
Yeah, that ear you said.
Do what?
You have that ear.
No, I have it. You can't always buy it. You can't just go in a health food store most of the time and get it. Some places, you know, it depends. If you have a really aggressive area and natural things, you may be able to find it. You can buy it off the internet, but I have little bags for $1 if you want to get one. I just went ahead and bought a pound. I just divided it up.
What's it called? It's just cayenne?
It's cayenne, and it's 180,000 heat units. So what you do, and you're going to think this is nuts, but I had a man in my last seminar who was having a headache, and his migraine was coming on. And usually he's laid flat for 3 days, he told me later. And he was getting miserable, and I didn't know he had a migraine because that was quite a big audience. So I started getting into the red pepper and started talking about red pepper and migraines, but you could do it for any headache if you want. This is what you do. Now, don't panic, it's not too bad. You just take a Q-tip, you put it in here nice, like this, and wherever the side of the headache is on, you stick it up your nasal passage and you coat the whole nasal passage. Now, I know he told me it didn't really burn that bad. I haven't had the nerve to try it as of yet. Usually, I did this once in my ear because somebody told me, and I sat in a rocking chair and held my head and screamed, rocking back and forth for I don't know how long till it calmed down. It was so bad. So I haven't done this at my nose yet, but I get everybody else to do it, and it gets rid of their headache. In nothing flat, within about a 15-minute period, for him, some it goes just like that. Him, it took about 15 minutes, and he said to me, he raised his hand, he said, I want you to know, first time ever in my life did I ever have a headache go like that. He said, because I knew I was in for a 3-day, you know, and look, I was a migraine sufferer. I didn't know about this in those days. I wished I had, because I got to the place I wanted to chop my head off. Do what? You just go up as far as you need to go, but you don't put it on the other side, only the side that the headache is on. Okay? That's what you do. Now I'm going to show you this other thing that's just absolutely wonderful. Oops, I dropped some. How did that, somebody open that up on me. Pardon me?
About a quarter cup, she said.
Yeah, that's about what it is. This one of these, you know, this is those little jars you get the pimentos in. That's a kind of little jar. But you know, you could have any jar for that matter, but about that much, you know. Yeah, I put a teaspoon. I mean, I hype it up a little bit. I guess because of me being a migraine sufferer, I just want to clip that.
What else is it good for?
Now, when you have just a headache, you can take, I may as well tell you this because it works like a charm. In fact, where is it? Oh, maybe I got it in my pocket. I got some peppermint oil. For instance, I felt a little tired earlier, and I thought, boy, I got to get perked up now for this meeting. If you take this, a friend of mine taught me this she was driving, and she knew she couldn't make it all the way home, and she didn't want to get a motel, so she stopped, she took out the peppermint oil, and she just put it on this part of her neck. Well, I put it all over my neck earlier. Because I thought, if I get a little bit's going to work, I do that sometimes. You know, we don't really have to, but it's not going to hurt me. And so I put it all over my neck, and nothing flat. I was perked right up. The other thing, peppermint oil for other headaches that you have, you just put it right here, you know, or right here. But be careful when you do it. Don't get too close to the eye, because boy, your eyes will start burning and watering. So just rub it right here. And then you can put some right between the eye. And usually, if anybody's experienced that, it will usually go away. But I wanted to be perked up, so I did, where is it? I did this, and then I threw a little bit of lavender on. Now, I'll use lavender on the bottoms of my feet, on the bottoms of your feet, because your pores are the largest. It will pick up whatever you put on the feet and carry it through your body relatively quick. So when I'm really wound, and I want to calm down at night, I lavender the bottom of my feet, and I tell you what, it'll just calm you right down. It's just lavender oil. It's wonderful. I've done it for years, and I can testify to it. It's wonderful stuff. But I'm going to show you something else.
What about eucalyptus oil?
Well, eucalyptus is real good for, you know, nasal congestion, colds, you know, anything going respiratory. You know, I haven't studied it thoroughly, but I've used it for years for coughs and colds, and mix it with honey. You know, it's really good. But I'm going to show you another treatment that's just phenomenal. Where is my oil?
Some kind of oil in the front there.
Oh, here. Yeah. You can use olive oil. You can use whatever you want. But if you have a bad cold, and your bronchi are really inflamed. I mean, I showed you what to do with fomentations and that kind of thing, but this is another real pretty good quick fix. And you're just caught, you know how it is? Those bronchi get stuck up with the mucus, and you know at nighttime it just continually gets worse, and you just cough, 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 and there's no sleep. And without rest, it's hard to get well. You know, and I believe that's why a lot of them hang on for so long, is because you're not getting rest when you should be getting rest. So one way to really stamp it out, and you can do this in two places. The last person I told, she did it the opposite, and it worked. And what it was, I was going to her church to do a seminar, and here she's real sick with bronchitis. She said, I'm over the bronchitis, and that was some kind of bug that was going around there for a couple of years, but the coughing hung on for weeks and weeks, and she couldn't get over it. I said, look, this is what you do. You get yourself a chuck, but any kind of, you know, material if you don't have these, but I encourage you to get these. It makes life a lot simpler. You just go ahead and you just pour oil all over it. I'll just spread it. I got olive oil, but you can stick whatever you want. And then you just put the oil on it like this. And then you take the 180,000 units and you sprinkle it really good. Sometimes I mash it in a little bit. And then I go ahead and sprinkle some more. You probably wonder, what are you going to do with this? Well, anyway, it's just like this. And you put one on the bottom of each foot. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to stop the coughing. What she did was she took this, and it works, and now I tell either way. She took and made herself a big one and put it right across the bronchial, because this is where your bronchial are. She put it right across this area. The coughing stopped that night, and she never had it again. So by the time I got out, she called me up. She said, this is a miracle. It's an absolute miracle. I said, I know all God's things are miracles. You know, but sometimes you just get some really good stories, and hers was a good one. I said, well, you put it in the wrong place, but it worked. You know, it makes sense putting it here. But they always say put it on the bottoms of your feet, and that you get really good results from it. And so that was the way I learned it. But she taught me to do it this way, so now I tell everybody you can stick it wherever you want to put it, you know, bottoms of your feet or your chest area. In fact, if you were really good and sick, I'd put them on the bottoms of my feet, and I'd stick one up here as well. Because there's nothing worse than coughing all night. I tell you, you hurt to where your ribs hurt, your chest, oh, everything hurts, you know, and you're tired, you're exhausted from that coughing. And look, red pepper is good for muscle spasms. It's excellent for arthritis. You have an arthritic knee that's in a lot of pain, just do a cayenne poultice on it. It's very good for diabetic neuropathy. You put the poultice like this on the bottom of the feet, and it works like a charm. It's good for shingles. I know you're thinking I'm really crazy when I say that, but people have good results with shingles. But the other thing that's very good for shingles that I've seen results with, and that's silver. You got to get a good grade silver. You know what I mean by silver? Yeah. And you spray that on, and I tell you what, I had a physician friend that was sick unto death with shingles. You don't want to get it on your face. It's the most dangerous place to have it, because if it goes up your nose, it will go to your brain and you're dead. And so, or in your eye, you don't want that to happen. And this was happening to her, and she was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And nothing worked. When we went to silver, cleared it right up. You know? Pardon me?
She said it's in liquid form.
Yeah, that's the only way I know that it comes. You can buy a little machine and really make the top grade silver. And right now I can't remember what it is that makes it better. My friend, she had, huh? Colloidal silver you're thinking of, but there's something else, but I can't remember what it is. But just look, I mean, you can find so much of this stuff right on the internet. Yeah. Yeah, but there is a silver maker out there, and it has something that the way it processes the silver that makes it very potent. And I'm using it on somebody right now with genital herpes, and it's starting to clear it up. The only thing that's worked, you know, at this point. Let's see. Now I have to tell you about this, because before we go, you have to hear this if you don't hear another thing I have to say. And that is, I'm just learning about this, and I'm so amazed I can hardly stand it. When I just got the book. If you ever want to get a book, this is the most marvelous book you'll ever want to get. And what's so nice about this book, it's called Free Food and Medicine. It's all in the wild, all in your woods, in your backyard, wherever. It's there. And what's nice about this book, everything is in color. Beautiful color pictures. Then when you get to the back, it will show you all the toxic plants and all the lookalikes. I mean, it's excellent. He has a 5 DVD set that I'm getting. He has another book with formulas specifically for chronic illnesses. I think this man is brilliant who wrote this book. But anyway, also, if you want, I just ordered these just for the fun of it. From, you know, you only find these kind of things in rest areas. But I thought I gotta have those, so I called the company and talked them into it. And so what's nice about it is I walk, you know, on the roads, and I go for walks everywhere, and I see all these plants, but I don't know what all of them are. And I'm always wanting to try to recognize them. And you know why God allows all that grow on the sides of the roads? Because it neutralizes all the poisons that are coming out of the cars, the plants do. And most of the time herbs, unless it downwinds some pesticides or something, they have their own pesticides built within them. So you don't need to worry about, you know, I asked one of this big herb company, he said, well, I don't know that they ever spray herbs because they have their own protection within them. But anyway, this is what I wanted it. I have herb books, other herb books. I think this is the most fabulous. But going down the road, carrying that book and trying to thumb through the pages and find the pictures, it's just, I can't do it. So this is like this, see? And it'll show you all of them. And they're only, it's on here, they got the price here somewhere, $6.90, $5.90, I don't know. They told me that they let me get them because they were going to up the price. So anyway, these are the medicinal plants, these are the roadside plants, and these are the wild wild edibles. And same thing, all these gorgeous pictures, and shows you the leaves so that you make sure you've got the right leaf with the plant. So, you know, you can get these from me, or you'd have to go to a rest stop, because they may have them in a bookstore, but I don't know, you know, but I know in the rest stops they have them. And I just wanted to get them because when I talk about herbs, everybody's as frustrated walking down the road trying to figure it out themselves, and you can't carry an herb book, but you can take this. You know, and it's all in color, and it's so pretty. Anyway, you're welcome to come up here and look. I just wanted to show you that. Well, I was talking to a friend of mine 2 weeks ago. She and her husband used to live here years back, and she was telling me about her husband chewing on pine needles. Now, you want to get the baby pine needles. It has some of the largest levels of vitamin C of anything. And every year he gets sick. Every year. This year he did not get sick from just chewing. He takes a walk every day. He picks a couple little baby pine needles and he chews on them, and he chews them up. I haven't been able to quite do that, but he must have some good teeth. And he hasn't got sick. So she proceeded to tell me about this absolutely marvelous book. And she got me so, that was all she told me about though, was the pine. She hadn't had it too long either. And she was just saying the pictures are gorgeous. You can learn every kind of food. She said if things really got troublesome for us, we can know where to go to eat what and how to even make it. He gives you recipes and everything else you can get. And I'm looking for some really, really good formulas for terminally ill diseases. Yeah, I got 5 minutes. And so anyway, fava beans, did you know fava beans has L-DOPA in it? You know, what a Parkinson's disease, what's low in their brain is L-DOPA. But you eat fava beans, it has L-DOPA in it. And these fava beans, you can't imagine everything a fava bean does. But this is what I want to tell you that just blew me away, was bee pollen. I always say it's pine pollen. And I went the other day and collected me some. I have it right in here. I went and stuck a bag over top of this and shook it out, but now I got the best idea. I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to cut this little thing out and drop it down in the bag. See, if I shake this, you're going to see the pollen. You see it? I'm going to just, yeah, I'm going to collect all these, and I found out you can eat this whole thing. I know you're going to tell me you're allergic to it, but if you start taking a small amount, chances are you won't. But I just want you to hear what I'm going to read to you. I just copied this out of this book. It says it's a true powerhouse wonder. It's a complete food and a complete medicine. Pine pollen is one of the ultimate superfoods in the world. It has over 200 bioactive natural nutrients, minerals, vitamin source in one single serving. That is completely absorbed by the human body. You just completely absorb this here. There's no other nutritional supplement that can do what this does, they say. It optimizes tissue regeneration. It optimizes breast health in women and testicular and prostate health in men. It aids in excretions of estrogens. In other words, if you are building up too much estrogen in your body, or you got those xenoestrogens, you know, that are coming in from the air and the plastics and the, you know, I mean, you can't get rid of them. You're surrounded by them. This will just knock it out as soon as it's coming in. And that's what you want, because you don't want those xenoestrogens latching on to empty receptor sites in your body, or you've got some big trouble up ahead. Let me see. It stimulates the immune system, the skin, the kidneys, the brain, the hair, the bones, the endocrine, liver regeneration, bile secretion, heart increases cardiovascular endurance, raises blood levels of superoxide demutase. Can you imagine? I about flipped when I read that. It stabilizes collagen and elastin. I mean, it is a superfood. If you read it, it covers everything. It even has DHEA in it. I mean, it has everything that we need. And it balances the hormones in women.
How do you take it?
Well, you start out, I'll read it here. And it says here, some people are allergic to pollen, a sign that the liver needs cleansing and the adrenals need rebuilding. That's what it's a sign. In other words, I think it's a threefold thing. You have no iodine in your body, you have stressed out adrenal glands, and your liver is not detoxing properly. Your pathways aren't working good where it turns things water soluble and carries it out. So if you take the iodine and then you're taking the bee pollen, I don't know if you need anything else. Now listen to this. You all want some energy? Pine pollen is more stimulating and energizing than coffee without the caffeine. So it's obviously affecting the adrenal glands as well. It's obviously stimulating them in a healthy way. It's 30% protein because it does have all the amino acids. It increases the strength of the capillary vessels. It helps protect the cardiovascular system, heart, blood vessels, and your blood. Pine pollen is 99% digestible. And then it just goes on and tells you 20 amino acids, and it gives you all the names of them. I mean, it is a superfood. I mean, I am so intrigued by this that I'm thinking that this is a major healer. And then when I read a little bit more today, I think it was, I found that you can eat this whole thing. So I'm so glad, because I was going out there and cut it down, do it anyway. But I'm glad that I can. And every pine tree is okay except for the yew tree. The yew tree, pine tree, has some toxic elements in it. So the yew tree you don't want to eat, but any other pine tree, it's all edible. You know, that's where they get pycnogenol. You know, that's from the pine bark. The inner bark of the tree is where pycnogenol comes from. You know, my granny used to tap into the pine trees, and that was the only chewing gum I ever knew about. And when somebody wanted to give me some chewing gum and they handed it, I said, that's not chewing gum. When I was a kid, I said, no, I don't want that. That's not chewing gum. Because the only thing I ever knew was this sap that my granny tapped in the pine tree, and then she'd give it to us and we'd chew it, and we didn't realize what nutrition we were getting from doing that. So I encourage you, if you're interested in things like this, buy this book. This book is fabulous. I haven't had a chance to read it. Oh, here it is. And I got it off of Amazon. The regular price is $29.97, and you know that's a good price for a book done like this. All the beautiful color in it. I don't know how he ever did a book like this cheap. But anyway, I think I got it for maybe 24 or 22 or something off of Amazon. And I already ordered, and I haven't got it yet, but it's coming in. I'm getting the 5, which is a 5 DVD disc set, where he's going to just show you how to go and take you on the nature walks and show you how to pick it and show you what to do with everything. So it's a fabulous book. And then I went ahead and I indulged this time because I'm so taken up with this. He has the formula book.
What's his name?
His name is Marcus. Okay, I'll spell the last name. R-O-T-H-K-R-A-N-Z. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to show you one little thing, and then you're going to go for, what time is supper?
Now.
Right now? Oh, this is serious. All right, we'll get going, but I want to show you one thing. And I just had somebody, I'm telling you, I'm so passionate about this EMFs coming from cell phones and coming from computers. In a child's brain who's using a cell phone, it will go all the way through a 5-year-old's brain. The EMFs will. 10-year-old, it goes about 3/4 of the way through. For us, it's about 1/3 of the way in if you have a cell phone. Johns Hopkins has done some of the most conclusive studies, and there is a direct link between brain tumors in children as well as adults from cell phones being here. Now you can type into the internet, and you can find that cell phones and breast cancer are real big because they're sticking it in their bra. And they'll show you the pictures of the tumors, and they get multiple tumors in their breast from sticking the cell phone in their bra. When you have a cell phone to your head, it lights your face up like this. The EMFs are so dangerous that you just can't imagine. This is showing you computers, how it lights up the body wherever you have it. One of the symptoms is irritability, fatigue, especially where you're working. The studies aren't conclusive, but they're getting close. And that is in industries, you know, where there's hundreds of offices and everybody has computers and everybody has cell phones. Early Alzheimer's is happening with people in those industries and factories because they are inundated with EMFs. Okay, I'm going to shut up. But they're after me. But I have to show them this because I'm so smart meters on your house. I know people getting sick from them, and they're making the electric company come get them because so much anything that is wireless is full of EMF. They have a house neutralizer that I use, but I want to show you this. This is what you need to know. The smart meter on your house, if you're standing anywhere where it's at and they've done blood analysis, it will clog up it'll sticky up your blood. And it takes, I think it's 15 minutes or so away from it before your blood will start flowing really good again. I mean, go on the internet, do your homework because there's so much out there now on this. But this is here's the study on Alzheimer's. DNA, it's altering our DNA. Incredibly. Just like if you think wrong, it's altering the DNA. But this is what I want to show you. I'm trying to get to the major one I want to show you. Here's some of the ones with brain tumors. I have some pictures. It'll show you, the brain tumors are either in the top of the head or right here in the ear. Had a lady call me the other day. Her best friend has just showed up with the tumor, and she uses the cell phone all the time, right on the earlobe. And she said, do you think? I said, well, I don't know. I can't help but think. This is showing you when you're having the cell phone like this in front of you, the tumors are showing up right in this area as well. But this is what I really want to show you. Here is mommy with the baby in her belly. And if she's holding that cell phone over her belly and the baby's head is up or the hiney's up, whichever is, it lights it up, as you can see right here. Here you go. Here's mommy with a computer and a cell phone, and that poor little baby is getting it left and right. So it's very serious. Here is, maybe I got the one on the breast cancer in here. I can't remember. Oh yeah, here's these, and I run into people all the time and I see them. I stopped a lady in Walmart the other day. I saw her pull her cell phone out of her bra. I started to walk away, and because I'm so passionate about it, I couldn't stand it. I had to walk back and tell her the whole story and told her, get on the internet and look this up. When I went to Verizon, you know, here's all the cell phones, and the woman that helps me pulls it out, and I went, I wasn't going to say anything, but I couldn't keep my mouth shut. And so I told her, I said, look, you don't have to believe me. Go on the internet, you can get all the info you want. Well, the next time I saw her, she had it in her hip. But I'll tell you something else. I have men coming up to me all the time, and they'll say, I have that thing clipped here. Is that why my hips hurt me so bad? I said, more than likely. I had a young man. Now, the people that fight me in the audience the most, I mean, I get a lot of fight on this, like as if I'm nuts. But it's the engineers, it's the computer people, and it's the electricians. I mean, they really give it to me, but good. And so I just, you know, I just say to them, look, I'm here just to share what I know. You need to go do your homework, and then you can fight with me if you want, but they won't, because they'll find it out. But I had a young man who's a big computer guru, and that's what he's going to college for. He said it's foolishness, you know. He wasn't going to buy into it. His mother, who has cancer and is so worried about her family, she went and bought the disc that you can buy 3 discs like this, and then they have the whole house plug. I have some information if some of you want, like this, and it has 3 in it, so you can put on several phones or whatever. Unfortunately, the portable one has more than your cell phone. I did my whole house in these and found out they're full of EMFs, but if you have the whole house plug, it takes care of your refrigeration and everything else that you have. But anyway, what did I start to tell you? Oh, so he didn't want to do it, but to please his mother, he went ahead and put it on his cell phone. He never told his mom or any of us that he had a lot of hip problem. Not only that, it was always buzzing. His hip was always buzzing. And even if he put his cell phone, took it off, and put it somewhere, you know, on a counter if the phone rang, he felt it here. Yes, but we didn't know that because he didn't tell any of us that. So last week, he told, they were all just talking about some other thing they were going to do or whatever. And he said, well, I have a confession to make. And he told what I just told you. And he said, and since I put the disc on, he said, I don't have any more of this. That was a real testimony because he's a big computer guru. And can you imagine, he fought me and had all this problem, but he didn't tell me. Because they all want to be right. It's a man that does it. The women don't give me a hard time. They're the ones give me a hard time in these meetings. That's another one of them things you're going to edit out. But it's the truth. I'm telling you, I had one man stand up with a whole stack of papers. He said, I'm going to prove you wrong. He started reading all these studies off, and I'm standing there like, where did you get this? And I said, I'm sorry, but I don't know where you got your studies. And maybe we better talk afterwards. Fortunately, unbeknownst to me, I had a physician in there, and I had a woman who did a big study for her daughter when she was getting her master's degree on all this. And each one of them stood up and gave the testimony. In fact, that's where I learned about the Johns Hopkins study, was from this physician. So that helped me out of that mess I was in. And I don't get in many messes, but I get in messes over the EMFs. People don't want to believe it about this, but they're seriously dangerous. And I'm telling you, if you take that with everything else that's going on, it can be so accumulative in your body and in your house that it's very, very serious. I have these things stuck everywhere because anything that's wireless, I know one lady, they were coming to put a smart meter on her house. She stood outside with a shotgun. She said, don't you dare put this on my house. And that man said, I'm sorry, woman, I have to do it. She said, I'm going to shoot you if you do. So he said, well, I'm going to have to turn you in. And so he did, and she fought him, and she won the situation where they would keep the regular cell phone, the regular smart meter. The smart meter is wireless because they're not reading it anymore, see? And so even though the whole house plug, like this, covers 5,000 square feet in your house, you just plug it in and it covers it. And believe it or not, none of this ever wears out because it's made from God's natural, and I don't know, they have a patent, it's a world patent on this. It's made out of, I'm sure, zeolites and clays and all kinds of natural elements because it's a negative field.
With this smart meter, are you saying then these rays come into your home?
Oh yeah, we're getting it all the time anyway, but you know what's good about, this is Altera. It's AULTERRA is the name of the company. If you get stuck, you can always call me. If you want any before you leave, I do have some of them with me.
But you can't fight the companies and get it out and get it back?
No, but if you have the neutral, see, this doesn't block them. This particular product does not block them. We sold them actually at Country Life. I got it in Country Life years ago. It doesn't block them, it neutralizes it. So when those rays are coming at you, it's just neutralizing it back to the ground. So when you have your cell phone with you, with these on you, with this on it, it protects you 3 foot circumference from anybody else's stuff too. So it's wonderful, huh?
How much is that?
I don't have my cell phone. These are $29.95 for 3. I'll show them to you. If you go on the internet, I can't guarantee some of the stuff that's out there. I do know about it. But most of it are blockers. You don't know when it goes bad. And so it blocks, but it's not really protecting you to the degree that this is. And the nice thing about this is it lasts forever, as long as you don't damage it. Now, if you have a phone that you can open up the back, you can just drop it down, and then if you get a new cell phone, you can take it out and put it in the other. And that's what I've done. I just never got into studying this as big as I have this last year, because all of a sudden I started getting into it and seeing the enormity of the danger.